Well, hello again. I've been talking to Savannah for a little while previous to here recording, but what we want to, or what we would both like to share with you here is a little background on Savannah and her first journey over here to Ireland, where she will be with us in the Body of Breath Festival on the 17th of August in Nenagh, and where she's holding a voice resonance chamber workshop. And I'd like to get a little bit of insight more into that to share.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you, Ronan. I'm really looking forward to coming over and, like we were just speaking of, creating space for some magic to just run its course, show us what's in store. But the resonant chamber vocal workshop it's been an emergence of what I've been teaching for maybe about 12 years now, 10 to 12 years. My background is in classical music. I studied Western classical, going into light opera through my teen years and through the Royal Conservatory of Canada. But I found there was like this huge disconnect between what I was learning and what my felt experience of singing was.
Hmm.
And so throughout my 20s, I ended up studying yoga quite intensively and becoming a yoga teacher and learning about mantra and learning about prayer and devotion in a way that I hadn't been exposed to prior. And then beyond that, I ended up studying somatic experiencing through Peter Levine's lens of understanding how our body holds the stories of our lives. And so I've crafted in my creatrix kind of a way, I've crafted a merging of all of these influences. So bringing in quite a astute technical, theoretical lens to voice and the anatomy of voice and how we can really work with both our extrinsic and intrinsic muscles of the voice to create the sound that we most like the most refined sound that we can create, the most clarity that we can find in our voice. And then, of course, in that there's room to play with style, but it's a beautiful pursuit to create clarity and precision with our voice, within our ability to regulate our breath to support the most clear sound that wants to come through us, which I really feel is connected to the soul. And so merging that with the body is your instrument as a singer, just as you might tune a cello, you have to tune your body as a singer. And so the resonant chamber workshop is really an encapsulation of all of that my body is the resonant chamber for my voice, which is an extension of my soul. And so it's a really soulful, yet also embodied, yet also technical approach to singing that I think merges all of those perspectives, which is essentially just a culmination of my journey with my voice up until now. And who knows how it might continue to evolve as I travel the world and meet interesting people and learn from all different lineages of understanding voice. I did study classical Indian voice as well, in when I was living in India, and that's a whole other world. Like it was beautiful to see the contrast between Western classical voice and classical Indian music and how they use the voice. And there's such a rich tapestry of learning about how we carry sound through us and how we influence our environment through the ways in which we bring these transmissions of the divine through our body.
Nice.
So that's a very brief summary.
No, yeah, and there's so many dots connecting here. I mean, we've only talked maybe two or three times, but my background originally, and again, this is like 12 years ago, would have been in Western classical. And yeah, and how I lost the hunger for my voice because I was in that genre or in that understanding of it and didn't see how else to do it, but it's how that is changing for me now as well. The
Hmm.
So for people that are coming and attending, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, I don't sing, I won't be singing," and it's no one's expected to get up on stage, obviously, and be singled out, but in terms of the harmonies, and we're playing harmonies together, but you use a lot of loop pedals. Is that something that you use as well when we're working with the voices in a big group?
Yeah, sometimes it's definitely a tool that can support a more efficient way of learning harmonies, as opposed to me like singing it over and over again for
Yeah.
folks to catch the lyrics, the melody and harmony. I can load things up on the looper, and I've done that recently in a vocal workshop, and it was beautiful and very efficient. And so yeah, that's definitely part of it, where we can do group singing and be in that space, which I love so much. The philosophy around it was once taught to me, this philosophy of, listen to yourself 51% and to the group 49%, and how you can remain connected to your core while also being embracive and receptive to what's around you, is a beautiful philosophy for singing. And it offers this beautiful way of orienting to a space when you're singing in harmonies. But I also think it's an amazing philosophy for life, to just like be connected to yourself and open to what's around you. And I think it comes back to the breath as well, when we're in conversation, when we're moving throughout our day, to just always be aware of the breath moving in and out of us, no matter what conversation we're having.
Mm, yeah.
And in that way, we are kind of in the witness seat as we move through life. And so there's all these interconnected philosophies that I think really weave into what we're able to experience in music. But I will say beyond that, I really love creating space for the somatic experience of voice as well, because
Okay.
there is stigma around voice, and there's so much judgment that can come in, and so much of it is psychological, and the beliefs that we've inherited around our own ability to take up space or be loud or be declarative in like owning who we are and putting it into the world. And I've noticed with a lot of clients that I work with that there can be like this real block around the voice. And I think I could talk so much about this, but I think it's incredible because as we gain access to our voice, we end up taking up more space. If I sing into a room, I'm taking up that whole room. And you got to be kind of unapologetic and badass to like do that with confidence and with a sense of like knowing that you're worthy,
Mm,
and knowing that you're here to take up space, and that's a beautiful thing. And so this quote that I pulled up while we were speaking earlier by Mariam Williamson really comes in, I think, often. It's a beautiful sentiment around, she says, I'm sure you're aware of it. She says, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. And when it comes to the voice, I don't think any words could be more true,
mm,
because we so often have this idea of like, I'm not a singer. I don't sound good enough. And it's like, well, actually, there's a power inside of you that has not yet been tapped into. And I think oftentimes that's the fear, is if I open up and let myself be heard, like it's going to be more powerful than I can even
yeah.
imagine.
Yeah.
And there's a fear around that. So we get to work with that through the somatic experience of understanding where that block is and where maybe tension arises or openness arises in the body, and giving space for that to be heard and to be brought through the voice. So it's a really beautiful process, and trying to explain it in like spoken word
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
yeah.
You've got to be part of it.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. And to bring your courage to the space, because it is a very courageous act to take up space sonically,
Mm.
and to let your soul be known, because the soul really is known on the voice and through music and through sound. And so yeah, it takes courage to let ourselves be seen in that way.
Beautiful. I think it's just going to fit right in. And again, you'll meet my sister who is will be playing some music before you as well, Siobhan. It's a beautiful melting pot of, kind of just moving into what you're explaining and doing there is fantastic. Um, so again, for people who are listening here, Savannah is doing the chamber voice workshop, and then later that evening is doing live music with her own music. And I've played her music quite a bit, and it's just a wonderful, not just musicality, but kind of an essence to the the connection of it, and the essence to nature in it is beautiful, really beautiful. The day will start with people. It's called laughing yoga, but I don't think yoga's got anything to do with it. It's more about getting out of your own, getting out of your own way by laughing. And then with Marie Angeline, and then with Eileen, we're looking at some kirtan music. We've got breathwave, and we've got Marcin, who is a didgeridoo exquisite, to help facilitate with that as well. And I'll have three or four other facilitators on the ground. And we will have the chamber workshop. We'll have food and lunch and time to wind down as well. And then later in the evening, we're going to have the live music. So I'm I'm trying to get across to people who are pretty much, some people who are on the bench or on the fence maybe, of just what it's about. So I'm really glad we had this conversation, and looking to, yeah, anybody who's listening and who is in any special part of Ireland. All parts of Ireland are special, but maybe Savannah, who after it will be driving around Ireland with her sister. Maybe you can direct her or make some lunch or do something like that. So appreciate. And I'm going to just end it here, but thanks again. And on the 17th of August in Nenagh. Thanks.
I'll see you.